Hi, and welcome to Duff Time, or Origin of Concepts. Welcome. In this episode, I'll go through the inspiration source and origin of the divine dove up here, which is used in many myths around the world, and has a significant symbolic value um, uh, for spirit or yeah. Uh, Doves feature prominently in global myths as a symbol of spirit and a divine messenger. Key stories include the biblical dove returning to Noah when with an olive leaf in the beak, and the Greek myth of Pe- Peristera being transformed into a dove by Eros, and ancient oracular black doves at Dodona. The dove overall symbolize pure spirit and purity, and what I also sometimes express as unmanifested spirit, or uh, yeah, the cleanest form of spirit. Although the dove is common in everyday life, the mythological dove must be found in the Milky Way center, of course. There are plenty of doves on the squares around the big cities in the world, but it's not the dove they used in the mythology. I guarantee. The dove is visualized by the white area above the disc here. This is both the dove, but it's also the Lamb of God if you're a Christian. So that's the white dove here. It doesn't look like a dove, but that doesn't matter because it's an allegory of the dove. And the dove has many different poses or postures. It can be flying, it can be sitting, and but the basic dove is the white area here, and then it could be flying with the wings here on each side. And sometimes the striped shadow here is an allegory for the beak of the dove. So here you got the basic dove in the Milky Way center. And the white color is, of course, the only pure white area here in the Milky Way center, which is also the cleanest basic spirit in the in basically every single myth around the world using this allegory. And before I continue here, let me explain, because the dove here, this white area, is unmanifested spirit from the father figure and the mother figure, so to speak. You can go watch my Milky Way introduction video. And those spirits, goes into they are in the dove, so to speak. And from the dove, the light here, the golden light in the disc, is manifesting the light of the world, or yeah. And then it flows into the striped shadow here and manifests in the flesh, in the mortal world and in humans. So the spirit, manifest in man to get him wisdom. And so that's basically that, a purity, I never did anything. And then they did it anyway. Well, let's move on here. Now you know the basic understanding of the Trinity in this concept. Um, Many dove myths also include the twin stripes in the striped shadow. We got them here. This is the two twin stripes, and they are often used to, for example, like doves pulling the chariot of some goddess. And it could also be when we are talking about the black doves, then it's the two twin stripes here. And this big shadow here is normally the raven, but it could also sometimes be used as the black dove. But let's move on here to see if we can find. Yeah, and then the dove has a claw, and the entire Milky Way center forms a giant claw of the bird here. There's only 3 dark shadows in total, and they are the bird claw in every single myth around the world. So when a myth go into details of the claw of a bird, that's it. Okay, you can better see it without my outlines here. Yeah, I'm sure you can see it. Okay, let's read up for some text here. I don't go. You know many of the concepts, but I'll just mention it here. We got the dove in the story of the biblical flood of Noah, where a dove is sent out to find land, returning with an olive branch in the beak. And the olive branch is, of course, the striped shadow here. And the stripes is and it's in the beak of the dove. And then we got the Udnap Ishtim, who sent a dove to find land from the Mesopotamian flood myth. And that's basically the oldest myth of all of them, where the Bible writers, loaned the story for the flood story of Noah's Ark and the white dove. But there was a dove before the dove. And I'm sure there was a dove before the dove before the dove. Okay, and then in Greek mythology, Aphrodite or Venus in the Roman version, doves drew the chariot of Aphrodite. And let me quickly tell you what the chariot is, because the wheel of the chariot is always the golden disc here, and then there could be like a roof over the chariot here or whatever, and then you got all the doves here, pulling the chariot. So and this is the chariot, for in every single story around the world myths too. So here we see the dove being used as the pullers of the chariot. It could also be reindeers for Santa Claus cane, and it could be horses, and it could be goats, like in Norse mythology, pulling Thor's chariot, and so on and so forth. Then we got Peristera in Greek myth, where Eros turned Peristera into a dove. Yeah, and it's just to make a quick explanation. This shadow here is always the goddess or the female posture, represent the female in the Milky Way center. And she is, of course, turned into a dove here because she is a part of the dove anyway. So here you got that. And then we got Orion and the Pleiades. Zeus, from Greek mythology, of course, turned the 7 daughters, the Pleiades of Atlas, into doves and to help them escape the hunter Orion. And here we got the 7 doves, of course. And what else do we got? And this is, by the way, also the Pleiades. I'll make a video going deeper into the Pleiades soon, and that will be very exciting. And then we also got the Native American, who got a legend, or in there's many, different tribes over there. But in some traditions, doves are associated with the spirit world. Of course it is. Because the Milky Way center is the spirit world. And in the case of the Cherokees, the sound of a gule or yule, I think it's the way they noun. It's yule. It means an acorn. The sound of an acorn, which is the fruit of the oak. It's associated with the dove. And where else do we got the acorn than the golden light from the disk in the Milky Way center? That's the acorn. And in the other myths, it's also the acorn of the great oak, and you got the oak leaf here. Used in many symbolism or in many myths. It's used as a symbolism from many myths too. And what else do we got here? And of course it comes from the dove here on the top. The dove and the acorn. And then we can go a little south to the Aztecs in the Mesoamerica. The goddess of love. I hate when they say the experts say goddess of this, goddess of that. But in this case, it's the goddess of love, and her name is Sahiquetzal. Yeah, whatever. Is believed to have descended to earth in the form of a dove. And of course she have, because the dove here will will manifest through the disk light here, and it will run into the mortal world here. The striped shadow is always the earth. So, and Islam also used the dove because the Abrahamic religions, is the story, the writings is made with inspiration from the Milky Way center. So therefore, Islam is also a Milky Way religion, so to speak. According to tradition, Allah sent a pair of doves to build a nest and lay eggs at the very entrance of the cave. Okay, so that's one of the, the Quran and the Islamic text is basically some of the most simple and precise text made since the Pythagoreans, because they come after the Jewish Christian religion, and then they just simplified everything, and that's pretty cool actually. So let's see here. Allah sent a pair of doves. It could be those doves here, right? or it could be those. It really doesn't matter that much, uh, because they were sent and they must build a nest. And this nest is right here. The striped shadow is a crescent, and the stripes here are the nest. So here you see the two doves building a nest. And they lay eggs. Of course they do, because the golden disc here is the big cosmic egg in the Milky Way center. You can go watch my I just uploaded egg video. I can't even remember what I named it, but just search for egg and it will pop up. And they have to put this nest and the egg right in front of the entrance to the cave. And the entrance to the cave is the ark here. And the mountain where the cave is of course the entire Milky Way center, if you outline it here. So here you got everything. Yeah. And then we go back to Christianity, because the dove represents the Holy Spirit appearing at the baptism of Jesus. And let me draw that for you. So let's first outline the dove here. And you know, Jesus is the light of the world, and that's the disc light, the divine light from the Milky Way center. And here Jesus is standing or lying in the river, in the Jordan River, which is the striped shadow too. And then John the Baptist, you know, put his hand over the head of Jesus and baptized him, and the white dove is raising to the sky. The white dove is also the sky in the Milky Way center. But let me draw some amazing here. That should get the most Christians or Abrahamics or fans of the Abrahamic religions see that it is the Milky Way center. Because here we got the hand of John the Baptist. That's the outline of the Milky Way center here. And his thumbs is basically the striped shadow here. And they got it from ancient Egypt, from the hands at the ankh. So here you see the entire baptism scene from the Bible. Yeah. And let's take the last one before I go to bed, because it's late here and I'm pretty tired. In Japan, we got the deity Hakiman, Hakimon, who has a familiar spirit in the form of a dove. And the dove with a sword represent the end of the war in that myth. And we just have to find the dove and the sword, because this is the dove here, and the sword is always the striped shadow here. This is the sword in heaven, because the sword is an allegory of it's the same as the cross. It points out the crossing point of the rivers in the sky, which is basically the two shadows on each side of the disc, and the delta here to the earthly realm or the mortal world, and they all crossing where spirit, the divine spirit, and the mortal world meet each other. So here you got the cross and the sword. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy. Now you know where the mythi- mythological dove originates and how it was used to in all these stories. Until next video, take care and good night. See ya. Bye.